As a new wave of NIL begins, Ohio State stands ready with the brand, backing, and blueprint to dominate.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Tuesday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talkos, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes, and today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. During today's show, we will discuss the importance of Ohio State planning for the future and now reacting to it, as well as the recruiting edge Ohio State will continue to have when the new wave of NIL begins. But first, one thing we talk about a lot on this show is change. Change is coming to college football and collegiate athletics in a couple of weeks. And the change might make you nervous. All of a sudden, schools can share revenue with the athletes inside the athletic department. Ohio State will share revenue with the football team as well as men's basketball, women's basketball, and women's volleyball. They'll also be handing out 91 more scholarships. When you hear about that, knowing that there's $20.5 million of the revenue Ohio State has so they can share with the athletes, at $2.5 million is reserved for the 91 scholarships, that the other $18 million is going to 14 sports. You may be sitting here thinking, Jay, how can Ohio State navigate this when it's happening very, very soon? And I think about Ross Bjork, I think about Ryan Day, I think about the fundraising agendas that Ross Bjork currently has, and I think while Ohio State has the $20.5 million to give these athletes, they can easily get that money back. People in Ohio, I mean, you're in a capital city in the state, so that already talks about the type of money that is right there in Columbus in and of itself. Then you think about a national brand attracting AT&T, Finish Line, you name the business, they're trying to get their hands on Ohio State's players and to get their symbol and their sign on the jerseys. Why? Because it's the Ohio State University. And not a lot of schools out there in the country are able to navigate a new road like this and then make it even better than it was before, like Ohio State. And so I hope you're not a person out there that's a little nervous or a little uneasy about the new world of college football or the new world of collegiate athletics, because Ohio State, I think, is better suited to handle this now under Russ Bjork than they were under Gene Smith. That's not a knock against Gene Smith. He was a phenomenal athletic director. I just think this new world where money is needed quicker than it's ever been needed, I think that suits Ross Bjork's motto and who he is as an athletic director better than Gene Smith, which is why I'm glad Ross Bjork is the AD right now. I don't know all about the man. I don't know all about his history, and I don't know some of the minor details that are major for him to make him a great person. I don't know all those things. I will not say that. But I do know what this man has done already in a short time leading the athletic department at The Ohio State University, confirming and saying Ohio State's going to keep all 36 varsity sports. It would have been very, very easy for him to come out and say, yeah, well, I'm going to cut this one, I'm going to cut that one. It's going to come down to 26. We're going to cut 10 varsity sports? Think about the opportunities you're not going to allow those athletes, those young men and women to have, because you're cutting those sports, because all of a sudden you got to share revenue with the athletes that are in the school. But no. He is realizing things that happen on the field will help us in big ways off the field. In the future, I'm going to say this, I haven't said it much on this show, but it wouldn't shock me if Ross Bjork was out there trying to put a certain company's patch on the jerseys of Ohio State's players. May it be a football player, may it be a lacrosse player, may it be a volleyball player, whatever the case may be. Let's just say there's a business out there that is willing to pay a lot of money to put a patch of the symbol of their business on an Ohio State football jersey or basketball jersey or tennis jersey or hockey jersey. That's an easy way for Ohio State to go out there and get more money and to win off the field. And I know when Ross Bjork first mentioned, I'm going to say it again, the thought of selling the naming rights to Ohio Stadium. A lot of people, even myself a couple of years ago, would have said, oh, no. Oh, no, sorry, Bob. We're not doing that. But there's an advantage that he realizes he would have, or that he has, when he is leading the athletic department where the shoe is not only an iconic stadium in Ohio, it's an iconic stadium in the world. And so when you have that iconic stadium, selling the naming rights will help you so much. You wouldn't even realize the reach you could have and the money that could come in by just making that gesture. You're going to rub some people the wrong way, but you know what? There are going to be decisions that he's going to make that are the absolute right decision that needs to be made. And that decision is going to rub some people the wrong way. That's just the way of life. I don't like it. I don't like when I make some decisions and it's the right thing for the moment, and all of a sudden it rubs someone the wrong way and they try to push me off making that right decision. That's just life. You're never going to make every person happy because there's always one person out there that's trying to push your buttons and not do it in a playful way, but do it because they think you're wrong. And Ross Bjork realized, and I'm going to hype this man up a whole lot more. There will be times I come in here and criticize him, but I don't have reason to right now. Absolutely not. There's no reason to criticize a man that's coming to a new school, realizing the brand power that Ohio State has just in the state of Ohio, within the schools in the capital city of the state. That already opens up so many avenues for businesses, for new journeys, for new partnerships to happen. And I'm going to go back to the jersey, the patch on the jersey here really quickly, because when that first started in the NBA, I was a person that was not a fan of it at all. I wasn't. I thought, oh no, this is going to turn into European soccer or the WNBA jersey where there are certain certain brand symbols and patches on there that all of a sudden is going to take away from the jersey. And I was watching the Fever and the Liberty this past Saturday, and I was looking at those jerseys. I'm thinking the patches on there and the company signs and logos on those jerseys, that doesn't take away from the jersey. It's just a part of it. Now, I don't think the NBA, college football or college basketball, or any of the sports will start having 2 or 3 company patches that are sponsored specifically for Ohio State athletics. I don't think that. But it wouldn't shock me at all if down the road you see the Nike sign, you see the Big Ten logo, and then you see, let's say Roosters puts all the money into it. Not saying they're going to, but let's say Roosters ups their money, their money they donate to Ohio State athletics to put the Roosters patch right there on the players' jerseys. Oh, let's say it's a national brand. AT&T, Verizon, Xfinity, Finish Line. It could be Adidas because they're a Nike school, but you get the gist. I don't think you would even realize that it's even happening. Nike's already on there. Nike is a brand sponsor of Ohio State athletics, and Nike's been on there for a long time. And I know people may say, well, Jay, Nike's a brand. They sponsor Ohio State athletics. Of course they're going to be on there. Does anybody complain about the Nike swoosh being on Ohio State's jerseys? Or do you complain when the Under Armour symbol or the Adidas symbol is on other jerseys out there? No, you don't. Why? You expect it. It's just kind of understood that the brand that is sponsoring whatever conference or team or league is going to be on the jersey. And so moving forward, that's just another avenue. It wouldn't shock me if the next 2 years, I won't even say 5, next 2 years, Ohio State has a company patch on their jersey. Ohio State sells the naming rights to the state. Now, that's going to take a different project, going to take a little bit of convincing to some people, but it wouldn't shock me if it happened. And that is what's going to help Ohio State once again succeed off the field, not just in the recruiting. We're going to talk about that in a second, but monetarily, because you're going to need more money than ever to not only succeed off the field, but to dominate off the field and on the field. One way Ohio State's going to dominate on the field is by using the Ohio State brand, the national brand that it is, to keep the recruiting edge the Buckeyes currently have. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. There's nothing like the NBA playoffs, the intensity, the buzzer beaters, the fans losing their minds. It's the kind of atmosphere you must experience live. And this year's matchups are already delivering. If you want in, Gametime makes it fast and easy to get seats, even for the biggest playoff games. Prices on the app actually drop closer to tip-off, and with killer last-minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees, Gametime is a total game changer. I was just on the app, and Zone Deals were offering 10% off exclusive Zone Deals for FIFA Club World Cup matchups. I love that I can see my exact view before I buy. No surprises. The app makes it ridiculously simple. 2 taps, and I'm done. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you all for tapping and Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. There are certain schools out there that would love to have a national brand that Ohio State Athletics currently has, where you just walk around wearing the Block O, or you see Ohio State on somebody's shirt or hat, and you want, oh man, you represent that school. You represent one of them schools. And you know when someone says that school or one of them schools, you know it's basically saying Jeremiah Smith is him. A very unique brand, a very recognizable symbol, and it's something that stands for the best, something that is elite, something that dominates the sport. And so, this new era of college football, where it would be very easy for Ohio State to try to do what they have done in the past and slow roll it or not tap into the brand that they currently have, it'd be easy to kind of wait and see what happens. It'd be very, very easy to say, okay, we're going to keep our same recruiting pitch. We're going to keep our same recruiting motto, and then maybe wait a year and a half, 3.5 years before changing things up. But no, you don't need to. Ohio State's brand's already national. Ryan Day has already set himself up at such a high level that he's not out here just offers just to offer them out like he's Oprah handing out cars during a talk show. He's not out here just handing out official visits so he can have more friends come to his house. No, he's not doing that. Ryan Day is being very, very strategic and realizing Ohio State's not for everybody. And I don't think Ryan Day is doing that just to fill space during interviews. I think he 100% believes it. And it's something Nick Saban did when Nick Saban was a head coach down there in Tuscaloosa, where he would make statements in interviews or during press conferences, and he would make them knowing recruits are going to hear them, parents of current players are going to hear what he's saying, donors, big-time donors, are going to be in tune to every syllable that comes out of Nick Saban's mouth, and they're going to try to follow the leader. Well, Ryan Day has said over and over and over and over and over again that Ohio State isn't for everybody, he's being very strategic with his words. And he understands the platforms that he's making those comments on. He realizes Ohio State's not for everybody. And he's not going to shy away from the reality. There may be players out there that think Ohio State's for them, and then they realize, buddy, it's not. This place is too intense. The competition is too hot. It's too fierce. We're not just trying to play 12 regular season games and one bowl game and call it a season. No, it is 12 regular season games and then play in the playoff, make another playoff push to win the national championship. And let's just say down the road, if Ohio State or collegiate athletics, if the NCAA is completely broken off from college football, which for the most part it is, the conferences run the sport. The conferences have their own TV deals. It's not like the NCAA is governing the TV deals. Those are conference ran. The college football playoff is ran by the conferences. The commissioners have all the power in the sport until it comes to discipline, eligibility. That's where the NCAA comes in. Compliance, they got a compliance department. They don't really follow the rules of said department. But let's just say that college football does go away and college football does break off. Do I think it will hurt Ohio State? Absolutely not. I think it will be a massive benefit because if you get something new that is more geared towards the sport, as football at the FBS level is not sponsored by the NCAA, and I understand why it's not. I think the sport, if you had football people in the NCAA running college football, I think the sport would be a more unified sport. You wouldn't have the ACC doing one thing and the Big 12 doing one thing, the Big 10, the SEC, the MAC. Oh, Notre Dame's an independent. I don't really care if Notre Dame's an independent or not. I know it was a conversation that Joel Klatt and Marcus Freeman had during Joel Klatt's Big Noon conversations. I truly don't care. And if they continue to be an independent in the new governing body of college football, so be it. I wouldn't lose no sleep. Now, we'll start to lose some sleep if Ohio State woke up in the new era of the NIL and stop trying to tap into the national brand that they have and stop trying to use that to their advantage. But then when you think about also not only the national brand, being able to play players directly from your own revenue, and for any NIL deal that is larger than $600, it has to go through the NIL Go to be approved. And you know that, but the Buckeye Sports Group, as well as some other things Ross Bjork has going on with the Center of Sports Intelligence and Strategy, that is going to be there's going to be so many things that help Ohio State's recruiting. Now, Center of Sports Intelligence and Strategy, it's not something that is a physical location, but it is the goal is to centralize resources within the athletic department for coaches to have data, sports science, and sports performance resources among a lot of other things that will be at their disposal. So I do think this is something that's going to gear Ohio State towards winning off the field in recruiting. Ohio State just just had a young man commit, a running back from the state of Florida. And if I am him, I'm entering my sophomore year of high school. Why would I consider going anywhere else at all? Let's say Lachlan goes somewhere else. It's still Ohio State. They're still set up to help you develop at an elite level. They're still set up to help you make a whole lot of money when you come to the school. They're still set up to do so many things that other schools around the country aren't able to do. I can name schools right now that I think are going to still try to do under the table deals to win, to get players to come to their school. I can name them. I'm thinking about two right now. I can give you the conference names, and I'm not going to do that. It'd be too easy to guess them if I did that for you. But I can guarantee there will still also probably be shoe companies, two specific shoe companies that might try to have the back man or still might try to do some things to lure kids to certain basketball schools. That stuff might happen. You might not be able to take it away. But you know what you can't take away? Ohio State's national brand. Now, the one thing that would hurt Ohio State's national brand is if Ohio State started losing. I don't think it's going to happen at all. And I'm not saying like go 6-6. Let's just say once again, the unfortunate thing happens where you have another John Cooper era. If that were to happen, that would hurt the brand of Ohio State. Well, think back to some of those teams in the 90s. They had dogs, man. I mean, John Cooper had some really good players playing for him. It was just, there were some times you couldn't win the games. I have gone back and I forget the name of the bowl. Forgive me, those of you that know this bowl game off the top of your head. Ohio State and Tennessee. I believe it was played in Orlando, Florida. I could be wrong with that. But Ohio State lost to Tennessee that year in the bowl game. Peyton Manning was a volunteer quarterback. Ohio State had the players good enough to win. He just didn't get it done. That would be a way to hurt Ohio State's recruiting edge off the field. I mean, financially, they're going to be just fine. If you're a quarterback at Ohio State, you're going to make some legal NIL money. If you're Jeremiah Smith, if you're Caleb Downs, if you're one of the elite guys out there at certain positions, a left tackle being one of them or an edge being another, you're going to get the money. You got to prove it. Got to make sure you're falling in compliance with NIL Go. Got to make sure that Roxbrook is staying ahead of the game in the recruiting. Got to make sure the recruiting camps are doing the things that they're supposed to do. You got to make sure you're getting your eyes on young cats before other players, other schools get on them. You can do that. And I'm looking forward to Ohio State in the future. I don't like all the change. I've documented that well on this show numerous times. I don't like all the change going on in this sport, but it's coming. We can't dodge it. Just got to adjust to it. You just got to make sure you're planning for the change and not reacting to it. And that, my friends, is exactly what Ross Bjork has been doing. He's been planning for the new wave of NIL. He's not going to react to it. This episode is brought to you by Epicor. Every team knows the value of hard work, of taking pride in what you build, and practicing every detail to get the best results. But no one player, no matter how amazing, can do it all alone. Working together makes getting the win easier. At Epicor, the All-Stars are the hard-working manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver the things we all need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices. Epicor ERP solutions are created by industry experts to help make every day easier. Seeing your whole supply chain is easier. Managing logistics is easier. Responding to price changes is easier. From small businesses with big dreams to growing enterprises with global vision, we'll equip you with the right tools to move forward, think ahead, and lead the way. Because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most of every hard-working minute. Easier doesn't cut corners, easier takes the lead. Discover your success at www.easierwithepicor.com. That's www.easierwithepicor.com. Thank you all for tapping in Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. One thing that frustrated me with Ohio State when the NIL first started was their slow approach to trying to figure out how to navigate this new era of college football, the transfer portal being another one of them. 2020, the Big Ten with the virus going around the world, not trying to make light of the situation, but man, it was more, let's react to everybody else in the country and figure out what they're going to do instead of planning to make sure you have a plan. Simply make sure you got a plan. And it was kind of frustrating in some situations with Ohio State, how they navigated new waters, and with the Big Ten, how they failed to plan for things when we knew in March it was possible the season might get pushed back in the fall. The Big Ten didn't plan. They reacted, and they looked foolish. Ohio State didn't look foolish in their early approach to the portal and the NIL. It was just different. But right now, with the new era of NIL coming right around the corner on July 1st, I don't view Ohio State doing what either the Big Ten or what Ohio State did a few years ago. Once again, they're not repeating history. They're doing things a little bit different. They're planning for the future, and they're not reacting to it. And that is another reason why Ohio State is going to navigate the new wave of NIL a lot better than other schools around the country. Because if I am a person that is trying to navigate something new, but I also have something at my disposal and I can tap into some resources to help me plan for that, I got to do it. I need to exhaust every resource I have and spend the necessary time to make sure that I am doing everything in my power to make sure that I'm not going to look foolish. I'm not going to miss dotting some I's. I'm not going to miss crossing some T's. I'm not going to miss stopping at a stop sign. I'm not going to wait 3.5 seconds before going at a green light. I'm going to make sure that I am on my game. And I think moving forward for Ohio State, their ability to plan and to make sure that, hey, this is the new world. This is what's coming. These are the financials. Hey, they got these two collectives. Let's bring them under one roof, but let's use the leaders of those previous collectives as advisors for the new world where Ohio State can handle all the NIL deals in-house. Why don't we just do that? That's great. Think about how many times you have been in meetings or you have been in your family or at Thanksgiving and someone's talking about, man, what the plan for the future, man. That's not the words they say, but they end up discussing a move they're going to make and trying to ask them questions. Hey, man, where are you going to work? Hey, buddy, I don't know. Whoa. You going to move 3 states away or you going to move 1,000 miles away and not know where you're going to work? Okay. Where are you going to live? I got this apartment. Okay, cool. So you got that handle. You got that handle. One thing I know about myself is that when I go and move somewhere new, there are 2 things I'll look for in every place I move: a barber and a new church. Now, the barber's a whole lot. Now, you say, Jay, it's hard to find a new church. It's true. It's also hard to find a new barber. Because let me tell you about the whole barber thing and when I moved. My wife and I got married. It's crazy, man. 2-year anniversary is coming up right around the corner. And when we moved, I actually was able to. Well, before I moved to Kokomo, I was able to get some haircuts from different barbers in the city because the barber I had at the time in Indianapolis, homie, this is no joke, was 20 minutes late, 30 minutes late, sometimes 40 minutes late. I'm sitting there in the barbershop and I luckily had nothing going on, but I saw the other barbers out there going through heads and cutting heads. One guy was quick, so I get there. He finished one head, got another guy in the chair. He finished that head. I'm sitting there thinking, where's Rock? Where's Rock at? Because I need homie to come in here, cut my hair real quick, get me crispy for the weekend. But when I moved before my wife and I got married, I went to one barbershop. And then unfortunately that barber got locked up. So that's the first time it's ever happened where I had a barber that I actually knew got locked up. I was trying to go get my hair cut. Somebody texted me and said, "Hey man, homie's not able to come cut your hair." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Oh, well, try something else." Went to a barbershop in the mall. Homie was good, man. Got me crispy, but I needed a cut for an interview. And he wasn't available because the shop was closed on a day when the shop should have been open. When I had an appointment scheduled, and I'm sitting there thinking, man, what's up with all these barbers? Next thing you know, I found the barber I'm currently go to right now. He's from Chicago, he's Puerto Rican, and homie gets me crispy every single time. Finding a church is difficult. Like, it's way different than finding a barber. But man, like, you trying to find different things, man. You're trying to figure out, man, where you're going to go, how you're going to navigate it. And if you're a person that's trying to go somewhere new and you realize, man, when I'm trying to move somewhere new, I got to find a plan, but I don't have a plan, or I'm trying to move somewhere new. Me personally, trying to find a barber, trying to find a church, there's things I look for, things I need in a barber and a church, but sometimes finding them is difficult. But once I have a plan in place to try to make sure I accomplish both of those goals, things are great. Well, Ohio State's not even in the new era yet, and they've already set some really good things in place to navigate the new waters. Now, here's a good thing about Ohio State also. You got the national brand. You have the best resources. You're making the necessary upgrades to certain athletic facilities to not to get even with other schools or maybe get ahead of the game. All of that's going to help Ohio State get ahead. If you are someone that is nervous about the new era of NIL, I get it. Y'all trust me. I've told you the story before about when my family moved to a new house in 2005? 2006, moved to a new house about 15, 20 minutes away from the first house I lived in Indianapolis. And my idiot self was a teenager, and I thought, man, I don't want to see this new house. I don't want to move. I want to stay where I currently am. I didn't see our new house until the day before we actually moved, and I'm sitting there thinking, looking back on it now, thinking, man, I was so dumb. I was so stupid. Like, my inability to adapt to change caused me to miss out on seeing a new home built from the ground up. It's seeing where I was going to play and the space we were going to have in the yard to throw the ball back and forth and see all the infrastructure and the different things going on in a house that my family ended up living in for quite a long time. I get not liking change. This is good change, though. Players making more money, capitalizing on the name, image, and likeness the legal way. I like that. Being able to make sure you're complying with the things that need to be complied with so you're not breaking rules and having to lose scholarships while you're adding 91 of them and lose revenue as you have 20.5 million now and it'll go up 4% every single year. You got to make sure you're doing everything you need to do to not only win, to succeed, to stay ahead of the game, but also so you're not behind the 8 ball while also not getting caught cheating or doing something you should not be doing. Ohio State right now is in a great spot. And moving forward, I'm excited to see what happens in the future. Ross Bjork did a great job so far. It's been very, very tough for him to come in following a legend in Gene Smith, as well as with the changes happening right now in collegiate athletics. But so far, so good. He is navigating the waters very, very well, planning for the future, not reacting to them, keeping Ohio State's recruiting edge where it needs to be, while making sure Ohio State wins off the field. A lot of that winning off the field is going to be monetarily, and you're going to see some things happen over the next maybe few months, maybe a few years that will help Ohio State to continue to succeed off the field. Thank y'all for tapping Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the portal because my guy Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the portal and Locked on Buckeyes on the YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. This has been Locked on Buckeyes right here on a Tuesday. We'll see you next time.